So I'm going to read another excerpt from Mere Christianity. And this is from the chapter called The Invasion, where C.S. Lewis is talking about us being behind enemy lines, which was appropriate for the time that he was speaking and writing, because I think it was in the middle of the Second World War, actually, where they were experiencing pure evil. And it's often at these times when we see evil spreading and flourishing on the planet that people start to come to the realization that, oh yeah, actually evil is real and God is real. And what you're seeing now is a lot of people actually coming to Christianity. So let's read what C.S. Lewis has to say. One of the things that surprised me when I first read the New Testament seriously was that it talks so much about a dark power in the universe, a mighty evil spirit who was held to be the power behind death and disease and sin. The difference is that Christianity thinks this dark power was created by God and was good when he was created and went wrong. Christianity agrees with dualism, that this universe is at war. But it does not think this is a war between independent powers. It thinks it's a civil war, a rebellion, and that we're living in a part of the universe occupied by the rebel. Enemy-occupied territory, that is what the world is. Christianity is a story of how the rightful king has landed, Jesus. You might say landed in disguise, and is calling us all to take part in a great campaign of sabotage. When you go to church, you are really listening in to the secret wireless from our friends. That is why the enemy, the devil, is so anxious to prevent us from going. He does it by playing on our conceit and laziness and intellectual snobbery. I know someone will ask me, do you really mean at this time of day to reintroduce our old friend the devil, hoofs and horns and all? Well, what the time of day has to do with it, I do not know, and I'm not particular about hoofs and horns. But in other respects, my answer is yes, I do. I do not claim to know anything about his personal appearance. If anybody really wants to know him better, I would say to that person, don't worry. If you really want to, you will. Whether you like it when you do is another question. And so that phrase, intellectual snobbery, that is one of the huge barriers that we all have in this time against Christianity and against religions in general, even though a lot of people think they are spiritual, okay? They think that by talking about consciousness, about talking about forces in the universe, that they are more intellectual. But in actual fact, as I said, that's logically incoherent. So he's turning it on his head. He's like, look, the world is the way that the world is. Either God exists and what the Bible said is true, or it isn't. Okay, you can choose which ones to believe because we have free will. But let's just put down this intellectual snobbery. Let's put it behind us. Let's try and think about what is really going on when we look out in the world. What's going on this planet? Haven't things got a little bit crazy? How can we be non-dualist like many New Age people who take their philosophies from Eastern traditions like Buddhism and Hinduism? In other words, there isn't really any real good and evil, okay? It's all just a matter of perspective. How can we really say that with a straight face when we look at the evil going on in the world? And how can we say that they are unintelligent forces, impersonal forces? We are personal beings. Doesn't it make more sense that there are personal beings in other parts of reality that influence us, that influence our reality,